keep a long story short, he could be it. MindFire, your brain feels like it's on fire. But we do it anyway.
No matter what.
Self-love first, always.
Welcome back to the First Rounds on Me podcast, a First Rounds on Media production. Today we are joined by Carrie Berk, author, journalist, and real-life rom-com protagonist. Her book, My Real-Life Rom-Com, is all about dating with confidence, rewriting the rules, and embracing the chaos. And her latest, MindFire, dives deep into love, OCD, and anxiety, aka when your brain becomes your worst wingman. We're breaking down modern dating myths, first date disasters, and the rom-com tropes that need to be cancelled immediately. So grab a drink and let's get into it. Carrie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was such a great intro.
Thank you so much. I really
Couldn't have
appreciate
written it better myself.
Oh, see? And she's a writer, so that's big props to me.
Big props.
Big props. We start off the podcast the same way every single time. Are you in a relationship? Are you single? Are you somewhere in between?
I'm in a relationship.
For how long?
For 2 years.
Is it like a forever type of thing, or is it a...
Oh, I sure hope so. He moves in next week.
Whoa, that's big.
Wow.
I just watched the
Wow.
Sex and the City episode when Aiden moved into Carrie's place last night. So,
Okay.
Big
Yeah.
stuff.
On the original Sex and the City
Yeah.
or the reboot?
No, the original.
Oh.
He's just... He'd
Well,
be...
that doesn't go well.
Don't tell him. Don't spoil it for him.
So
Hey.
how are you feeling about it?
I'm excited.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people are asking me, are you nervous? How are you feeling about it? But I'm excited. I feel like we spend so much time together to begin with. It's going to be natural.
Yeah, I love that.
Your place or his?
My place.
Okay. Okay.
Smart. You're very
To move
smart.
my stuff.
How did you guys meet?
We met on Hinge.
So did we.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
We're
typical,
big proponents.
typical
Daily lay down.
love story. in
I think
today's
Hinge
day
is
and
like,
age.
we see a lot of love stories coming out of Hinge. Like even though we own a dating app, we don't disparage dating apps in any way, shape or form. Like
No.
there's a dating app for everybody and there's a place for them all. But yeah, always be proponents.
How did
of
it play
Hinge.
out on Hinge? What happened?
To keep a long story short, I was talking to a few people on Hinge, and he was the one that kind of stuck when everyone else was ghosting. He just stuck around and showed continued interest. And he went to, I think, Seattle on a vacation, and I thought he ghosted me, and I'm like, all right, it's done. And then he texted me when he got back and said, I'm still really interested in you. I was away on a trip, and I was thinking about you the whole time. Would love to meet up. And we went for coffee, and it kind of just took off from there. I literally came home after the first date and told my parents that he could be it. So it's gone well ever since.
What made you feel that way?
Knock on wood. We were just able to talk, I feel like, in a way that felt like I had known him for so many years. Like, we could literally just sit down and talk for 3 hours, and it felt so comfortable. I didn't feel like I had to force it in any way. I wasn't bored. Like, I was genuinely interested in his life, and it just felt like I'd known him for years. And he was really funny and handsome and all the things.
Oh, I guess I'm like a match made in heaven. That's
That's
so
sweet.
sweet. All right, so your book, Rom-Com, My Real-Life Rom-Com.
Yes.
What inspired you to write that?
So this was pre my boyfriend. This was when the dating stuff was not going well. I was 16. I'd just gone through my first breakup, and I wrote down like a journal entry about it. And I didn't think about publishing a book or anything, but as I was going through all these fun dating experiences in New York and as an influencer, I feel like I had a lot to say and a lot I wanted to get out there into the world. So I just started piecing all these journal entries together, and it created a book where every chapter was dedicated to a different guy, a different dating endeavor that I went through. And I really thought of it as this Gen Z Sex in the City, where I
was
could
about to say,
really
it feels
empower
very Sex in
people.
the City.
It is, but for the younger generation. So I wanted it to be a fun read. Obviously, rom-coms are fun to watch, but also something that could really empower girls to kind of own their own love story in a way that they might not necessarily have in the first place, because there's no teenagers out there really talking about love to other teenagers in a long format in the way that I really did through my book. So my goal was to just become that role model or big sister figure for them.
Oh, I love it. I think that's so necessary within any world, but particularly within the dating world, because like you said, it's just not talked about. And I love the fact that your name is Carrie, because it's so very Sex in the
How many
City.
chapters are there?
14?
So does that mean 14 men?
Yes, but they're not all like boyfriends. Some of them were like one night things or like a crush.
Well, just like the evolution of dating in general. Like, very
Yeah.
few people just go straight from relationship to relationship. There's always going to be those like weird, like situationships or one night stands or what have
Did the
you.
14 people know about it? Know about the book?
No, but I did get a few random messages popping up when I released the book. Not even like anything related to the book, just like, hi, hope all is well. Or someone commented congratulations on my post.
Oh, that's nice.
Like out of the woodwork, 3 years after something. Nobody like who follows me. It was just really weird.
Well, I mean, it's fair though.
Who is the what's the word I'm looking for? Who's
I don't know.
The one that the bad person, the bad guy.
The bad guy. There are a bunch of bad guys.
Oh, there's a
my
bunch of
God.
bad guys.
I mean, there was one guy that broke my heart, my first love, and he broke up with me through his mom. So think about like Carrie with the Post-it note with what was his name from Sex and the City? The Post-it.
Burger.
Yeah, Burger with the Post-it. It's like worse than that. He literally told his mom to text my mom. We were 16. So, I don't know.
Still.
I feel like we're old enough where you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Either. But it was just really weird. And I don't know. He's the bad guy,
Okay.
I guess.
That's
but
pretty
a bunch
bad.
of them sucked.
Let's talk about. You're going to get a lot of Sex and the City spoilers, I feel like, this episode. So shield your ears.
That's
Are you
okay.
watching it for the first time?
Yeah, he's never seen it
Oh,
before.
it's so good. What do you think?
I love it.
It's
Every night
amazing.
he's
I'm
like,
obsessed.
can we please watch Sex and the City? I was like, of course we can, darling.
We're gonna do a Sex and the City trivia at our store.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it.
I know, I'm so
You gotta
excited.
convince my boyfriend
Where
to
you
be
going?
more of a Sex and the City binge watcher. I get an episode here and there out of him, but
Oh,
I can't get the full binge yet.
Hannah needs to go to sleep, so she's like, "That's enough," because I need to sleep.
I get
so turn it off.
too interested in it.
I'm addicted.
Are you
I
going
think the
somewhere?
dog wants you.
Are you going somewhere?
Oh my goodness.
This is why you're not allowed on the podcast.
Bye bye.
Pretty
Hey,
good. All right. So, but there are kind of, like you said, you're empowering like younger women or women in general to be able to kind of like write their own relationship rules, right? And dating rules. So I've got a couple of questions about dating rules that I want to ask you.
Ooh, let's do it.
What is one dating rule you stand by no matter what?
Self-love first, always. You need to be confident enough in your own skin, your beliefs, and your values before you give yourself to someone else.
Couldn't agree more. What's an unspoken rule that people think matters, but is actually bullshit?
Oh my god, these are like rapid fire. I gotta think.
Yes, I just say them rapid fire. You don't have to answer them in rapid fire nature.
That someone has to look a certain way, be a certain age, have a certain job. I feel like love is love.
I like that. Which borough in New York has the worst dating pool?
Which bar in New York? So oddly enough, I don't drink.
No,
but...
borough. Like which, like.
Oh, borough.
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
that's
like,
my
which
accent.
Bar?
And you're like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question too. Which borough has the worst dating pool?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in Manhattan you get so many finance bros that are just like exactly the same person. So maybe Manhattan, but also I'm dating a finance bro that's different, so it works for me.
What do they say? What do they say that Murray Hill is Murray Hill still like the worst?
It's Murray Hill. You know, my best friend is moving to Murray Hill from college, and she called me the other day, and she was almost in tears, just so upset. Like, don't be ashamed of me. I'm moving to Murray Hill.
Don't be ashamed of me.
And I'm like, you're fine. Like, it's okay. She already has a boyfriend. Like, you're gonna survive in Murray Hill.
Everything's gonna be fine. If you could create a warning label for modern dating, what would it say?
What you see on the screen is not necessarily what you see in person. I feel like there's a more concise way of saying
That's
that,
really good.
but you get what I
that,
mean.
Yeah.
Pick up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Last one for this section. What's the one piece of dating advice you wish every woman knew in her early 20s?
I think I wish I knew that you have to be patient. I think when I stopped looking for a boyfriend and stopped chasing is when I really found someone for me. So I just say to be patient and let someone come to you and don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Nice.
I like that a lot. We talk in the context of rom-coms a lot, whether that's through like games on the show, or just kind of like the fantasy that rom-coms lead us to, right? Like I write the blogs for First Rounds on Me, and I did a couple of blogs in terms of like this rom-com relationships, and we just expect them to go a certain way and they really don't. There's this trope of like the good on paper guy versus the like charming, irresistible, but kind of like badass guy.
Yeah.
Who do you actually think is better for people?
both. A combination of both. I
Ooh.
don't know. No, probably. I'm kidding. Probably the one with the better personality. The bad guy is always like fun in the moment, but they never really last or like know how to maintain a meaningful relationship. But obviously they're like fun for the time being.
And there's a time and place for them. That's what I always say.
Exactly.
Time and place for it.
What do they say? Best sex you ever had, guys? Probably in jail.
That's exactly right. That
That's
is
a
what
good
they
quote.
say.
I've never heard that one.
That is what they say. Okay, so also in every rom-com, there's like the love interest and then the best friend, who's actually more important in real life.
Oh, man. It changes. Right now, it's the love interest because, like, my boyfriend is my whole world and, like, I don't know, a lot of my best friends are, like, moving away. I feel like it's tough in your early 20s because your friends really come and go during that time. But if you find, like, a companion, a boyfriend relationship, then that can really, like, hold you together. So right now, a love interest. But when I was in college and all the guys were shit, then it was the best friend.
100%. I always say that we talk about this a lot, the fact that he's my best friend. Like, of course, I have female best friends.
Well, that's a good
but I feel like
perspective.
your love interest should always be your best friend.
I love that.
Even if they don't begin that way, that's how they should end up.
He's blushing. You made him
is.
blush.
I'm blushing.
You blushing? He knows it. What's one piece of terrible rom-com advice that people actually follow that you're like, nah?
I feel like in rom-coms, everything just seems so perfect. And a lot of times, like, there's more emotion than you see on the screen. Like, as much as I love Sex in the City, I feel like her relationship with Big is so unrealistic. I feel like after the first time they broke up, that would have been it. But the fact that it's a TV show, obviously, like, they keep coming back and coming back.
I was so mad last night because Big came to Aiden's cabin, and I was like,
no.
"How is this
Wait,
acceptable?"
That's the best episode.
But he was
You're
like,
on the
what
best
do you
episode.
mean? He's like, he was like, have I missed something? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, what's going on? Like, why is he there? She cheated on him.
Yeah.
Like, just losing his mind. We have to do a Sex and the City episode soon because I feel like
Oh
this
my
is,
God,
we have to
invite
dive
me.
into it.
I was named after Carrie Bradshaw.
Were
You
you?
were?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. I love it. The hair and everything too.
I know. It's like extra curly today. It's very Carrie Bradshaw.
I like it. It's because the moisture outside.
I feel like you're a Samantha energy.
You reckon?
Ooh.
Yeah. A mix of Samantha and Miranda.
You think I'm that
Miranda?
hypersexual?
Yeah, Samantha and
I don't know how I feel
Miranda.
about that.
Wait, I saw this meme.
You just call me a
on
fucking
TikTok.
Miranda? What? Sorry.
Everyone
No
gets
offense,
offended by
Miranda.
Miranda. I saw this meme on TikTok the other day. It's Miranda, but like Miranda looking like a Chucky doll. You know, like with the red hair. Every time I look at it, my boyfriend sent it to me. We die of laughter. Like when I'm having a bad day, we just like pull up the Chucky meme and I like, die. It's
Wait,
so
I need to
funny.
understand why you think I'm a mix between Samantha and Miranda.
Because like the fun, sexy side of you is very Samantha,
Mm-hmm.
but like right now you're acting like a Miranda. Like right now, you're like very like what? Like why am I a Miranda? And that's what
I
Miranda
only
would
became
do.
Miranda because you said that I was Miranda.
And the
so
more
you
you do
fucking
this,
manifested
the
that
more
shit
you do
for me.
this, the more you're being Miranda.
I feel like this is very type A, like Charlotte too.
Yeah, I think I'm an,
No,
I think I'm an amalgamation of all
Charlotte's
of them.
too like soft, sweet, and vanilla. Hannah doesn't have that.
I
She's
feel like
tough.
I'm so sweet and nice.
You're acting right now like Samantha and Miranda.
You're just straight up Miranda.
I'm sure.
I hate,
What?
I hate that we say that Miranda's a bad character because
Yeah,
she's
why is
not.
Miranda bad?
She's
She's
incredible.
She's
But
very.
everybody hates being the
She's
Miranda.
very successful. She's very like strong.
I don't know why they hate it. We ask people this question a lot on the podcast in the recent past, but I don't know why we dropped off. But I love this question.
Mm-hmm.
We always talk about the people that we want to date, but would you date yourself?
Nah, I'm a wreck. I wouldn't date myself. No, I'm kidding. I think the goal is to want to date yourself and to want to get to the point where you're comfortable enough in your own skin that you will date yourself. But also, I don't know. It's a weird question. And I get down a lot on myself sometimes. So maybe not. Kudos to my boyfriend, though, for dating me. I feel like I could be a wreck sometimes.
Well, that kind of leads me to this next section because, as I said, that the first book, My Real-Life Rom-Com, I think really obviously came from like your late teens to your to early 20s, and like I said, I think every woman or every person in general has gone through that roller coaster of different types of relationships. But then your latest book that will come out in early May, is that correct?
May 13th.
There you go, May 13th. It's called MindFire, and can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so the title itself, MindFire, think about when you're in such a deep point of anxiety that your brain feels like it's on fire. That's where the title comes from. And I really tell my story with anxiety and OCD. I was class of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic.
Wow.
I didn't have a prom or graduation. My entire generation was really suffering. And one day I had a panic attack and I didn't really understand what was happening to me because I had never gone through it before. And my mom suggested it might just be anxiety. And I didn't understand that there was a difference between anxiety and stress. Anxiety can be so debilitating and just an all-consuming emotion. And I didn't really recognize that, I guess, until I was alone in the pandemic and just forced to kind of sit with my thoughts and really ruminate over them. So MindFire talks about my journey with mental health in hopes that other people will be able to relate. I always say relatability is so much more powerful than reassurance. And a lot of times the data and the scientists are reassuring people that, yeah, like they're not alone, like these are the statistics, but it really helps to hear it from someone who's gone through it and is going through it. That's the person's own age. So I'm really trying to target people in their 20s who are in this adulting era, who are maybe suffering a little bit in these formative years of their lives, and just show them that they're not alone, that there's someone else that's just like them going through it, and hopefully help them navigate some of these emotions.
I love that
That's
so
awesome.
much. I think that's one of the reasons why I like social media, that like the really beautiful part of social media, and obviously like you've formulated that into now a book, right? But is that people look to social media to relate, to see themselves in somebody else, and to see the same struggles, the same triumphs, the same vulnerability. But I love the fact that you decided to write that into a book. And I think that dating anxiety is something that we've talked about quite a lot on the podcast in different various ways. Most recently with Gianna Lota, who was a therapist, like purely dealt with like anxiety in adults. But when it comes to like the context of dating, so when we think of the context of like dating apps, do you think there is a feature that would help people with dating anxiety?
I feel like the nature of dating apps it's just so toxic to begin with. Like swiping on someone and hearting them just based off of an image. Like it's just a toxic setup to begin with. But we do it anyway because we want to meet someone and because we hold on to that idea of love. So no, not necessarily. But I think you have to reach a point where you are confident enough in yourself to present this version of yourself online and on a dating app that you're most proud of. So maybe that's including a photo that's not in full makeup on your dating profile, or something a little goofy, and writing a unique feature you might have. I feel like that should be the goal, not necessarily to change the apps themselves, but to change like your attitude in using the apps.
I love that. I love that so much. So when you talk about dating anxiety, right? And then there's anxiety, and you're saying there's the difference between anxiety and stress. But then I wondered to myself, like, how people out there can differentiate between dating anxiety or like red flags and intuition.
Oh my God, it's so tough. It's so tough, especially, I know we were going to talk a little bit about OCD. Someone with OCD gets intrusive thoughts, potentially, and intrusive thoughts about anything, but sometimes it can be intrusive thoughts about a relationship that make you question if this is right for you, if this is something you want to be in. Do you really love your partner? Do you want this? Do you want this future? All those what if questions can come up, and for someone with OCD, it can be really hard to differentiate the intrusive thought from something that's a genuine red flag, which I think is what you're referring to. But in that case, I think you have to listen to your gut. I know we hear that a lot, but deep down, you know how you feel about that person, and you know when they're the right person for you. Like I said, love is love. When you feel it in your gut, and that kind of takes over. Despite what's going on in your head, you still feel that love, and you know deep down that you do want this and you do love this person. So it's about listening to that. When it's a red flag, it's more like something tangible that's going on that you don't necessarily like in your partner. And I'm not talking about like leaving the room messy or just like small things, but real problems like still following an ex on social media, for example. Like that would be a red flag, something that would, I guess, negatively impact the future of your relationship. Otherwise, I think it's natural to have doubts about a relationship, especially in early stages. It
Yeah.
just means you're growing.
100%. Couldn't agree more. What is so we speak about OCD, and I know OCD is like obviously very particular with each person. But what do you think is like perhaps like the worst dating situation or scenario for a person with OCD to be in?
The worst dating scennario for a person with OCD? I think I'm just thinking of the worst intrusive thought for a person with OCD. A lot of people I know that have OCD have intrusive thoughts that are like sexual related, which can be really difficult when you're trying to be intimate with your partner and you might get an intrusive thought about someone else, like an ex or a celebrity or something like that. And for a person with OCD, that can be really disturbing because you want to be present in the moment and focus on what's going on and enjoy your love with this person because the love is there, but your anxiety and your OCD is kind of knocking on the door and saying, hey, like we're gonna poke fun at you. But in those moments, you got to remember, OCD literally attacks what you value. That is the nature of OCD. If you didn't love that person, it wouldn't go after them in the first place.
Wow, that's fascinating. So in that scenario, is that a hybrid of OCD and anxiety, or is that just OCD? When you have an intrusive thought about somebody else during sex?
It's OCD, but you can have an anxious reaction to it. So, for example, an anxious reaction could be depersonalization, meaning your surroundings get blurry, you feel like you're not really in the moment. You might start sweating, shaking, so you might have an anxious reaction to it. The OCD is the fact that you're obsessing over a thought, and you might compulsively try to get yourself out of it by saying, I love my partner because XYZ, or this thought isn't true because XYZ.
Do you think that's why some men who feel pressure during sex and they know that if they relax and they're just calm and enjoy the moment, it's going to go well, where they could function properly. But they know, okay, if I think about this too much, then it's not going to work. And that's when like the anxiety comes in and they just can't control it.
As she just said, it's the anxious reaction to those obsessive thoughts, right? Sort of allowing like those thoughts just to kind of go through your mind, which I think like everybody, unless you're Tyson Beckford, you know what I mean? But like,
great example.
But even not, like, just everybody has those anxious, like those thoughts that aren't the nicest to us, right? Particularly in moments of vulnerability, and typically when you're naked, you're a little bit vulnerable. Yeah. And so everybody has those thoughts, but it's the obsessive nature of when you think about it and you think about it and you think about it, and then you have an anxious reaction to that thought process. Yeah. And you're trying to get yourself unstuck. It's almost like you wedge yourself deeper into that hole, which is just so unfortunate. And it happens to so many different people and different...
It's the worst, especially in an intimate situation. I guess that was your original question. Like, what is the worst situation for someone who gets intrusive thoughts related to dating? Probably an intimate situation, because you want to be present in that moment more than anything. And then all of a sudden, like, a thought hits and it's so disturbing. You know, a lot of people, even like aside from the relationship, people get thoughts related to like pedophilia or like religious thoughts, and when those pop up during sex, that might be all you can think about, and you can't focus on the bodily sensations, and it might affect your sexual performance, and it's just a whole mess.
It's wild how powerful our minds are.
So crazy.
I think every single day we're reminded by that, and particularly when like, so I've dealt with anxiety my entire life. I truly believe it's hereditary in some way, shape, or form. Like, my mother's dealt with it. Her mother, like, there was just like this long line, particularly of women, right, that have dealt with it. And I think also just being a woman, we have more proclivity to an overactive brain. And then he, in of himself, I would say, out of anybody I've ever met in my entire life, has the most equilibrium of mind, right? Has the ability to like slough things off of his shoulders.
Not always.
I didn't say always, because you're still human.
I have two definite areas that make me very, very anxious. One was earlier in my 20s having sex, because, you watch porn and you're like, I'm supposed to perform this way. And then you're like, it's not happening that way. But the other is flying. So I'm a really big guy on statistics, and I look up all the statistics on flying, and I know how safe it is. Every single time I get into a plane, my brain just engulfs me with something bad's going to happen.
But this is so interesting. What you said earlier, and maybe this will actually really help you with flying, because what did you say? It's relatability. It's not...
Relatability over reassurance.
Right?
You don't need someone to tell you flying is not going to be dangerous because blah, blah, blah. But hearing about someone else who goes through the same thing as you can be really powerful, because then you can relate to them and you know, go through the same thing. And I'm sure you're especially not alone with all the shit that's going on right now with planes crashing. Not to scare you, but there's a lot of shit going on right now in that
Not to
like,
deepen
industry.
that fear. But also,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think that's like you read so many statistics, right? Like you logically know that nothing, like it's very, very rare that something could happen.
Mhm.
However, I don't think that sometimes you feel quite isolated in that thought process when you get onto, you start feeling panic, and then you get those obsessive thoughts that you anxiously attach to, and you're like, oh fuck, like I've never, I mean, I'm from Australia, I've flown literally all around the world my entire life, right?
Yeah.
It's like taking a bus to me. And so when we first met, and he was like, oh, I'm scared of flying, and I was like, thinking, oh, okay, like, you know, you got a bit of a fear of flying. Like, this man is like, I've never seen him scared of anything, and he's just, he white knuckles it, and you can just see, like, you feel the anxiety rating off him, and it's so,
So what do? Do you take like a melatonin before you go on?
No, sometimes I just
write it out.
I'll have a drink or something.
Okay.
People have taught me a few different tools of like, you know, you touch, smell, and look at something that helps a little bit. But yeah, I'm just like competitive, so I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna suffer
A challenge
here.
for you.
Let's
Hey,
suffer.
I like that. That's actually a good tip in dealing with anxiety, to kind of go at it with a competitive mindset and be like, all right, this is a challenge. Like, bring it on. Anxiety, you're trying to mess with me today. I'm going to tackle it. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to get something done. So I like
and
that.
I think that's
use
how I think it translates into dating and human connection in general, in the sense of being competitive and knowing you're going to lose sometimes and you're going to win sometimes, and you're going to meet some people who aren't your person, but you have to be okay with the hurt. You have to be okay with building back up, and I do everything that way. And I think people need to do that in dating, where it's not always going to work, because if it worked so easily for everybody, then everybody would be married and have kids, and there'd be no single people. So
But then also we wouldn't have stories, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful things about life is the fact that there are these like ebbs and flows. It's even just like your first book, right? So this roller coaster of like some good men, some really fucking horrible men, like a man who breaks up with you through his mother, like it's wild. But you need those stories because it builds your character and it builds the human being that you are, and then that's when you get to sit with your husband, wife, partner later on in life and be like, oh, let me tell you about this story thing, and you tell your kids and your grandkids. Like, it's beautiful that way.
Someone posted on Instagram, a guy broke up with a girl in the driveway, and the dad was out watching out the window, and he felt so bad, and he sent her a text and said, hey, listen, I know that you're really hurt right now, but I just want you to know that I went through this when I was your age, and it was a positive because it led me to your mother. And if I didn't go through that breakup, I would have never met your mother. So just know that it's okay in this moment to feel all that hurt, but one day you're going to find somebody, and you wouldn't have found them if this guy didn't break up with you, and you're going to tell your kids about this, and it's all going to work out. And I just thought, man, that's how we should handle those moments. Let somebody be upset, but we have to tell them it's going to lead you to something better.
In those moments, it's really hard. I feel like after I went through the breakup, if anyone tried to talk to me and tell me it's going to get better, it's going to be okay, like it led me to your mom or anything like that, I would want to punch them in the face. But eventually, yes, hearing that, I feel like at the right place and the right time from the right person, a comment like that hits and it resonates and it helps you move forward.
I think one thing that you said just earlier though, like, and I preach this all the time to people, like, you have to let people feel like shit. You really do, because sometimes things are hard sometimes, and it may not be hard to you. It may seem kind of like a little bit wacky that someone's taking something so deeply and so personally. And we talk about this in the context of our relationship sometimes, because I'm a sensitive gal. Like, I'm so sensitive. And like, it's more so like if I hurt somebody's feelings, and I will feel like shit for 3 weeks. Like it hurts me. And he was like, it's okay, just like move forward from it. I was like, no, I need you to turn and be like, I can imagine that feels like shit. I can imagine that hurts. I can imagine that that's horrible for you. Because that acknowledgement from, again, the relatability element, the acknowledgement from a fellow human, especially someone that you love, going, fuck, that sucks. Goes, you go, okay, I'm not alone in this entire situation.
And also makes you realize that there's no need to push those emotions down. If you push them down, they're just going to come back stronger. So it's all about going through those emotions, acknowledging, yeah, it sucks, so that eventually you get to the point where you can say, yeah, it sucks, but I'm okay. Not, no, it doesn't suck. Like, you need to acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it, but not dwelling.
Yeah.
Because that, and again, it's just like this fine line of being a human and like walking through all of these emotions and trying to navigate everything. But I think the more that we particularly with books like this, right? The more that we have these conversations or podcasts like this where we have these conversations with each other, it destigmatizes a little bit, and then people feel that little bit more comfortable to be vulnerable with each other, whether that's like a partner, a friend, or even just a stranger.
Truly. I love that. Humans are so complicated.
We really are, but we're so beautiful. We're so beautiful in that regard as well. Carrie, short and sweet today's podcast, but like I feel like we got to like the real root of what I was so excited to talk to you about, which was like the dating and the OCD. And also just, I find it so fascinating that you wrote a book at 16, but we know where to find you. But can you let our listeners know where they can find you?
I wrote a book at 8, by the way.
Oh.
It was
my apologies.
It was a little bit before.
Wow.
I wrote a children's book when I was 8.
I did see a whole bunch of children's books and I was like, is this the same Carrie Berk?
Yeah, it's me. Unfortunately. Yeah, I wrote children's books when I was younger with my mom. That's kind of how I got into
That's so
everything.
sweet.
Very cool.
Yes. So I was very young, but my solo book came out when I was 18. So
It's props.
officially 8, but really 8.
But really 18. Where can people find you on socials?
You can find me at Carrie Berk with an extra K at the end on all socials. And my new book, MindFire, Diary of an Anxious 20-something, is out May 13th, but it's available for pre-order now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, basically anywhere. And pre-orders help authors. So go check it
We'll
out.
put the link in for the pre-order.
Heck yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Check out one of our past episodes. We'll see you next time. Happy dating. Please subscribe. We appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Bye.